The opening of Scream changed horror forever with a phone call that ended in pure terror. This kill is absolutely deadly. It starts with a ringing phone in a quiet house. Casey Becker, alone, picks it up casually, joking with the voice on the other end. The caller sounds calm at first, curious, even playful. The conversation turns strange when he begins asking what her favorite scary movie is. There's a mix of tension and confusion in her voice. She realizes the stranger is watching her. A small pop of popcorn burns on the stove. Smoke fills the kitchen, and the sound of sizzling echoes through the air. Then comes the shift. He says he wants to know her name so he'll know who he's looking at. She freezes, looks toward the window, heart pounding. When she tries to hang up, the phone rings again. The voice becomes sharp and cruel. He tells her he's outside, and suddenly she sees her boyfriend tied to a chair on the patio. His mouth taped shut, bleeding. The killer tells her to answer a horror trivia question to save him. She gets one wrong. The killer moves fast. A flash of movement in the dark. Her boyfriend is gutted right in front of her, his insides spilling as she screams through the glass. She bolts for the back door, clutching the phone. The killer bursts in wearing the Ghostface mask. The chase cuts through the kitchen and hallways. She grabs a knife, swings wildly, but he's quicker. He stabs her in the chest once, then again, dragging the knife down as she gasps for air. Her hand reaches for the phone, but he crushes it with his boot. The final shot is slow. Her parents return, calling her name, while she hangs from a tree, lifeless, her face frozen in horror, phone still clutched against her hand. No movie made highways more terrifying than Final Destination 2, where every second becomes a countdown to disaster. This one's brutal and dangerous. A stretch of wet highway, early morning fog, cars moving fast but steady. A logging truck carries massive wooden logs secured by chains. The camera follows the tension in those chains, every vibration, every squeak. A young woman drives behind it, uneasy. One chain snaps, quick as a gunshot. A single log rolls off, hits the road, and bounces high. The first impact sends it through a windshield. The driver's head disappears in an explosion of glass and blood. The car behind swerves, hits another, and the chain reaction begins. Engines roar, metal screams, tires burst. One car flips and bursts into flames. A motorcycle slides under a semi, cutting the rider in half. Another driver is crushed as two trucks sandwich his vehicle. One car flips end over end and slams into the guardrail. The camera stays close to faces, each second filled with panic and hopelessness. The final hit comes when a semi-truck jackknifes across the lanes, crushing everything in front of it in one thunderous crash. Flames spread fast, smoke covers the road, and the sound fades until only the crackling fire remains. The woman jolts awake. It was a vision, a warning. But when it begins happening exactly as she saw it, she realizes she's trapped in the same deadly loop. Nightmare on Elm Street dragged fear straight into your dreams and left no one safe in their own bed. The room is dark except for the static glow of the TV. Glenn lies on his bed wearing headphones, half asleep. His mom calls from the hallway, reminding him not to fall asleep. He mumbles a quick answer, but his eyes already drift closed. The sound of Freddy Krueger's laugh fades in, soft at first, then clearer. The mattress ripples, almost breathing. Freddy's gloved hand bursts through the sheet, grabs Glenn, and yanks him down with impossible force. The bed swallows him whole. For a second, silence. Then a geyser of blood shoots straight up, splattering across the ceiling and pouring down the walls like red rain. It doesn't stop. The blood keeps coming, soaking the mattress until it floods the room. The camera stays still. The violence is too much to move. By the time Glenn's mother opens the door, the room is a nightmare painting of red and shadows. Her scream echoes as she stares at the impossible mess left behind. Freddy doesn't appear again, but the message is clear. He kills you where you feel safest. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre hit like a raw nerve, filmed with no mercy and no warning. This one's the most sudden and dangerous kill of all. Kirk and his friend approach an old farmhouse, thinking they might find gas. The house looks silent, no movement, only the hum of insects in the heat. He steps through the doorway and hears pigs squealing from somewhere deep inside. The hall is lined with bones, feathers, and strange furniture made from animal parts. Then, from behind a doorway, Leatherface steps out without warning. His face is hidden behind human skin stitched together. He swings a sledgehammer once, a single brutal hit to Kirk's head. The sound is heavy and final. Kirk's body drops instantly, legs twitching on the floor. Leatherface drags him deeper into the room, slams a metal door shut with a loud metallic echo. No music, no build-up, just quick death and silence. That moment changed how horror would handle violence forever. Saw pulled horror into a new age of pain and puzzles, turning survival into a slow, cruel test. A man wakes in a dim, filthy room. Rusted pipes, flickering light, and a faint tape recorder on the floor. The tape plays Jigsaw's voice, calm and cruel. The man learns he must crawl through a maze of razor wire to escape before the timer ends. The camera pans to the walls lined with sharp, spiraled blades glinting in the light. His only exit is through them. He hesitates, breathing fast, then steps in. The wire cuts his skin instantly. He keeps crawling, slicing his arms, legs, and stomach as the timer ticks down. Every move rips more flesh. The blades hook into his skin like fish lines, tearing deeper as he pulls. The clock runs out, but he's still halfway through. The lights dim, and he collapses, tangled in wire, body shredded. When detectives find him, it looks less like a person and more like a shape of torn red cloth. The trap doesn't just kill, it punishes slow panic. Friday the 13th brought terror to the quiet woods, and no cabin was ever the same again. This one's a shocking and dangerous kill. Rain falls outside as Jack relaxes in his bunk, smoking and staring at the wooden ceiling. The camp is quiet. He doesn't know the killer is already under the bed. Water drips from the top bunk, but he ignores it. The camera zooms in. The drip is blood. A corpse lies above him, hidden. He leans back, eyes closed. Then a hand bursts from under the bed, grabs his head, and holds it down. An arrow pushes up through his neck from below, ripping through skin, muscle, and throat. The sound is sharp and wet. His mouth opens, but only a gasp comes out before he dies. The camera holds on his face as his eyes glaze over. The killer pulls the arrow free and blood flows onto the pillow. The entire kill lasts seconds, but it feels eternal because of how sudden it is. No warning, no music, just quiet horror in a wooden cabin. If you're still watching without turning the lights on, you're braver than most. Stay locked in. The next kills will push fear even deeper. Hereditary shattered audiences with one single moment of silence that felt like a punch to the chest. Night fills the road ahead. The air is tense, still, and heavy with guilt. Peter drives fast, eyes darting to the back seat. Charlie wheezes, gasping for breath, her face swelling from an allergic reaction. He panics, swerves, searches for help. There's no sound, but the rushing wind and the hum of the tires. He speeds down a long stretch of empty road, desperation rising. Charlie leans out the window, trying to breathe, head extended into the cold air. Then comes the low thump, a telephone pole on the side of the road. 1 second of silence, 1 second of stillness, then impact. Her head hits it hard and clean, the sound muted but horrifying. The body slumps back into the car seat as the headless outline disappears from the window. Peter freezes. He doesn't scream. He doesn't move. The camera stays on his face, eyes open wide, breathing shallow, not daring to look behind him. He drives home in silence, headlights dim on the road. When morning comes, the camera shows Charlie's head lying in the grass, ants crawling over her face, the sun rising. The scene ends not with music, but with still air and shock. The thing mixed paranoia and body horror until trust itself became impossible. This one's one of the worst and most dangerous kills ever filmed. Snow pounds outside the research station. Inside, panic. The men restrain Norris, who's fallen unconscious. His breathing is ragged, chest rising unevenly. They place him on the table and grab the defibrillator paddles. A doctor shouts, "Clear!" and presses them down. Nothing. He tries again. This time, the chest cavity opens wide like a giant set of jaws, the ribs splitting apart, teeth snapping shut on his arms. Both forearms vanish inside the creature. Blood sprays across the walls as he screams. The others pull back in horror, watching the alien mutate right there on the table. The arms are gone, bitten clean off, bones jutting from the sleeves. Then the creature tears open fully, spewing tendrils and bile as it morphs. The defibrillator falls to the floor, the machine beeping in chaos. The camera locks on the horror, a chest that became a mouth. The burn of the flamethrower ends it, but the sound of sizzling flesh stays far longer. Halloween proved a silent shape, with a knife could freeze the world in fear. It's a deadly and unforgettable kill. Bob walks into the kitchen after a moment of laughter upstairs. The house is dim, quiet, with only the sound of his own breathing. He opens the fridge, looking for a beer. Behind him, the door creaks open slightly, but he doesn't turn around. He closes the fridge and calls out, thinking his girlfriend is playing a trick. No answer. He moves toward the door, but before he can react, Michael Myers steps out from the shadows, tall and silent, wearing the pale white mask. A hand grips Bob's throat and lifts him off the ground. His feet kick helplessly as Michael drives a long knife straight into his chest, pinning him to the wall. The camera lingers on the stillness, Bob's body twitching, then going limp, hanging by the blade. Michael tilts his head slightly, studying his work like an artist. No sound, no emotion, just quiet observation. That one slow head tilt says more than any scream could. It's a display of control, not rage. It turned childhood innocence into terror, and a paper boat into a death trap. This one's the most haunting and dangerous kill. It starts with rain pours down in sheets, flooding the streets. Little Georgie runs along the sidewalk chasing his paper boat. The yellow raincoat glows under the gray sky. The boat slides into a gutter and disappears into the drain. He kneels down to look inside. Darkness. Then a voice calls out, "Hiya, Georgie." The clown's face appears from the shadows. Bright eyes, painted grin. Pennywise looks almost friendly, speaking softly, offering the boat back. Georgie reaches out. The moment freezes. The street is empty, just the sound of rain. Pennywise's eyes flick down, then back up, grin widening. His voice drops, deeper and hungrier. Georgie hesitates, but the temptation wins. His small hand stretches forward, fingers brushing the edge of the boat. The clown's mouth opens impossibly wide, rows of teeth flashing. He lunges, biting down on Georgie's arm with a wet crunch. The scream echoes. He tries to pull away, but Pennywise drags him closer, eyes gleaming. The arm tears off in one violent jerk. Georgie collapses in the water, crying and reaching for help. Pennywise's hand shoots out again, dragging him into the drain. The only thing left behind is the rain washing away his blood. Evil Dead Rise took the franchise to new levels of blood and chaos. This one is violent, messy, and absolutely deadly. The hallway lights flicker. The mother stands in the elevator, soaked, her eyes dark and cold. The possessed voice speaks in fragments, half human, half something else. Her daughter tries to help, stepping inside, unaware the elevator doors are closing behind her. The cables above them creak. Then the movement starts. Slow at first, then fast. The elevator fills with wires and cables like veins tightening. They wrap around arms, legs, and necks, pulling tighter. One metal wire slices through skin, another twists around a wrist until the bone cracks. The lights flash red as blood sprays on the mirrored walls. The sound is mechanical and alive all at once. When the doors open again, the elevator releases a flood of blood that pours out into the hallway, swallowing everything in red. Psycho changed horror cinema forever with one shower and one knife. This one remains the most shocking and dangerous kill in horror history. Steam clouds the bathroom. Marion steps into the shower, letting the water wash over her, washing away guilt and panic. The camera stays fixed, tight, intimate. Then a shadow appears through the curtain, soft at first, then clear. The curtain pulls back. A figure raises a knife high. The first strike cuts through the air, then flesh. She screams. The camera flashes through quick cuts, the knife moving again and again, her hands flailing, water mixing with blood. No sound, but the high-pitched music slicing through the scene. The knife never touches her on camera, yet the editing makes it feel real. She collapses against the tile, slides down slowly, hand reaching for the curtain, pulling it down as she falls. The water keeps running. The camera focuses on the drain, blood swirling down with the water. Then her lifeless eye staring blankly as the camera pulls back. Even decades later, the rhythm and precision of that scene remain unmatched. The violence is simple, but the shock comes from how normal everything feels right before it happens. Every scream you just remembered left its mark in horror cinema. Each death carved its own space in cinema's darkest corner. Let me know in the comments which horror kill is your favorite. If you want more horror breakdowns like this, hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.